If you're like me, when bad things happen or seemingly bad things happen, you're constantly looking up to God saying, "What are you doing? Why would this happen?" Today, let me share with you the reason why those things are happening. In Job chapter 1, we're reading a book that is the oldest book of the Bible. It's depicting a time between the time of Noah and Abraham. And it starts out by telling us that Job is upright, he's blameless, he's not sinless, but he's a good man. And he's got 10 kids, kind of a sign of status in the community, a lot of kids. They're close, they spend time eating together every day. And Job's praying for his children. He prays that they won't curse God in their heart. Good thing for us to do as parents. And then we shift to the scene in heaven. And God's up in heaven, and Satan is allowed to come up. And don't ever think that Satan's God's opposite or equal. He is not. He's a creature created, and he has to ask permission to go there, and he does. And God says, "Where have you been?" He says, "I've been roaming the earth trying to tempt a bunch of people." God says, "Yeah, I know." And then he says, "Have you considered my servant Job?" God brings him up. And Satan says, "Oh yeah, I think a lot about Job. And I'll tell you something. You're bribing him. You're giving him all kinds of good stuff, and that's why he loves you and serves you. You took any of that stuff away, man, he would curse you to your face." And God says, "Okay, we'll do a test. You can do anything you want to him, but you can't kill him." And Satan says, "Game on." Now, the interesting thing about this and why these bad things happen is told to us in James chapter 5 and verse 11. The Bible says this: "You have seen the perseverance of Job and seen the end intended by the Lord, that the Lord is gracious and merciful." Now, what does James tell us? It says that trials happen to bring you into maturity. It says Job had these things happen. God's point for Job's life was to bring him into maturity. Now, God had one idea, Satan had another idea, and Job had no idea. And that's where you're at. That's where I'm at. We have no idea what's going on in our lives a lot of times, why these things are happening. But you can believe God, that he's intending this to happen for good. You can believe God that he's merciful and gracious and has a good plan in this, and usually it involves your becoming more and more mature. So the next day, or on a given day, the Bible says, a servant comes to Job and says, "Hey, your donkeys were all killed and your oxen were all killed, and all those servants were killed." Well, actually, they were stolen and all the servants were killed. While that servant's still speaking, another one comes and says, "Your sheep were all stolen and those servants were killed from fire in heaven." And then camels were stolen and those servants killed. And then the final one was, "Your kids were all killed in a tornado," every one of them. And the Bible says that he said, "Naked I came into the world, naked I will leave. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Now, he said this without the benefit of the book of Job and the book of James. But he knew enough about God to know that his character was good, and God had something good for him in all of this. With the benefit of what you know about the Bible and Job and James, you ought to be able to say the same thing today. When something happens and you say, "Man, this is the worst," God means it for good. God means whatever is going on for good. Satan's got a plan, sure, but God's got a better one. And you should believe that God's plan is going to happen in your life. So today, put these words into practice and trust in the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord.